So Kenton, like we said, our job is to not only just educate, but also to make sure that we're letting the public know that a lot of what we predict, just because we've been in this business for so long, does come true. We see the cycles and the changes and the patterns that always go on. And I'd like to go ahead and recap about the urgency that is involved in the market. It's no longer time to be sitting on the fence. It's really time, especially the first-time homebuyer, to get into the game. This is a window of opportunity that's not going to be lasting for very much longer.
Okay, three factors that I look at here, and we speak about this before, but number one being currently still a buyer's market, and that's an important thing, I think, in terms of the availability of inventory out there, and whether a buyer can actually get a bargain on a house, and we're seeing that still exist right now. The other thing is that this federal tax credit, which is the $8,000 gift from the government, and it expires at the end of November or December 1st, technically, then that's an important thing for people to understand in terms of this isn't going to last for a really long time, and they need to start mobilizing or preparing ahead, because sometimes it's not unusual for us to work with people 3 to 6 months to get them prepared for a loan package to make them look the best that we can for the underwriter. Sometimes they have some minor things that we need to kind of work through and orient around getting their funds together and all those types of different things. So, like, if they're thinking about doing that, now is the time to go ahead and get started with that. The other thing is to look at right now, we still have really good low rates, and rates are still in the 5.25%, 5.5% range, and especially on FHA, low down payment type of loans. And one thing to bear in mind is that inflation will happen, and when the government starts injecting a lot of money into the economy, it'll be inflationary. And every single time we've been through these cycles together, so we can know that when inflation starts happening, that rates will rise, and they'll typically rise rapidly. And when we look at the mechanics of that, each 1% of buying power, and it wasn't that long ago, it was last November that we saw rates in the 6.25%, 6.5% range, that each 1% in rate decreases buying power on a $150,000 house by about 10%, or somewhere between $13,000 to $15,000 if we start grounding the numbers and looking at them. So what I would tell people is that it's a very important time to take this seriously if they're thinking about buying a house. Now, not everybody's ready to buy a house, and a lot of times we'll work with people and we'll tell them honestly, we don't think you're ready and you need to go do some things and that sort of thing. And that was what got us into a big subprime mess back then. But the reality is not everybody is ready, but those that are, some people aren't sure exactly what their situation is because they're listening to a lot of mythology in the media. And it's an important thing for them to at least engage on a certain level, and then we can give them the straight answers and exactly what's going on with their situation and the best way to handle their situation. And then we can move at their pace. If they're ready to do something now, great. And if they aren't, then maybe they need to wait. But the urgency that I see is this gift is going away as we know it right now at the end of November, beginning of December here. And that is a pretty good thing when you get an $8,000 check directly from the government, I think. It's unprecedented. We haven't seen it before. We saw a different version of it a couple of years ago, but it's unlikely to continue once the economy nationally starts to recover. We're going to see the government not doing so many different things that they're plugging money into the system. But the inflation has to go through the system and rates will rise, and they may go up 1% or 2%, but it starts to affect how much you can buy pretty significantly when you go up 0.5% or a full percent.
So when inflation comes back, that also means the value of commodities, including everything that goes into the house, also goes up in value. Is that correct? Because we've had that bottoming out of prices. Well, the builders won't be able to build it as cheaply as they used to be able to. And so, real estate is a commodity, a collection of commodities like anything else. And so that means that when inflation comes back, the value of real estate historically also goes up. So if you get in before inflation kicks in, then you have a lot better chance of taking advantage of that kick in appreciation that is inevitably will happen.
Fundamentally, the mechanics of inflation are that prices will rise, which means the cost of all goods and services, building materials, all those types of different things will go up. And then what that means is the value of the real estate will go up. But we can ground historically in our area over longer periods of time. You know, we talked about this as far as what the values of properties have gone up somewhere around 5.9% statistically over longer periods of time. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 year windows here, but what somebody that buys a home right now, in 5 years, they're going to look back and go, whoa, that was a really good thing that I did that, because inflation and the mechanics of that will drive the price of real estate up. Now, recognize in our local market, and we don't see that in the national media, but recognize in our local market, we didn't have massive appreciation rates when things were spiking in California and in Florida and all those sorts of things. We didn't have that happen here. We were just in a modest pace of prices going up. Now, when inflation starts happening, the price of gasoline will go up. We've already seen it in the price of oil going up here coming into the summer. It's basic supply and demand stuff, and as that happens, then the price of real estate will go up. It's mechanics, and over the long haul, it's proven to be a pretty good investment, especially in this area. If you start putting a pencil to 6% increase or 5.9% increase year over year, over 10 or 15 year time horizons, it's absolutely incredible.